Session. I'm Sarah Gardner, and I produced this film, which we call Finding Hope in Farmland. I made it along with David Simons, who directed the film. And it's about the Somali Bantu refugee or New American community in Utica, New York. And we made it for the Cornell Cooperative Extension, Oneida County. And we have Bonnie Collins here, who's with Cornell Cooperative Extension, and she's been integral to this whole project. And so we look forward to having a discussion with you after the film. It's only 15 minutes long, and we are going to try to screen it through this platform. It might be a little wiggy, but it will work out. It will be fine. And we do ask that while we show the film, please turn off your camera and your audio, because then it will play better. And I also just wanted to say that we were hoping that a member of the Somali Bantu community would be here with us today. His name is Abdullahi Jibril, and he's in the film, but there's some, a member of his family is sick, and we're not sure he'll be able to join. So with that, I think we can go ahead and show the film, and we will be back in 15 minutes. Thanks.
I'm sorry, is that working for everyone?
Yes, it was.
It is.
Good.
So what's happening out here right now is we're working with Somali Bantu refugee population out of the city of Utica.
And they say, yeah, and I think Cornell Cooperative will be helpful to you. And they say, you know what, let us introduce you to Bonnie.
Tell me what you want to do. They wanted a farm. So we had like a focus group with them. They want to grow vegetables. I said, great. They were so organized. They knew what they wanted. I knew I had a structure in place.
It took us maybe 3 years, 4 years just to get to where we are today. But finally, we got where we wanted to be.
So Cornell Cooperative Extension is a nonprofit organization that is a part of a land-grant university, which is Cornell University in New York. I happen to be in the ag department, so that's where my division is.
You know, agriculture is the #1 industry in the county. In terms of the Somalis, and it really adds to the whole, again, fabric of agriculture.
We're educators, so that's what my job is. I had an opportunity to teach Somali Bantu how to farm in the Northeast, and we want to learn from them some things that they can show us that maybe I can pass on to our farmers also.
We do appreciate the help that we received from the Cornell Cooperative, because we couldn't have done this by ourselves.
You kind of hear their backstory, where they came from, and what they're up against, but what they were willing to do to overcome that. We all got a lesson to learn from that.
The Somali Bantu, they used to live in peace. They were farmers, and they rely on farming. And there was like the Chevelle River, there's Juba. Over there, they used to grow corn, beans, watermelon, coconut, banana. Basically, they had everything that they needed. But when the war broke, things changed. There was some rebels and some killings, so it was a disaster.
When the civil wars happened and my family ran everywhere, somewhere, me and my 2 brothers and my dad run. So they killed my father and one of my brother. same night, and they shot me, my leg. The night my father died, I got a shot. They leave me like I'm dying.
They claim to be the ownership of the country. They said, okay, we are the owners, we own the land, we own the farmland, we own everything, we own you. It's like, you're our slave right now.
I was outside shopping, and the rebels, they shot me to get my belongings. They usually kill us, but I was lucky because they let me go. The Somali Bantu, we are farmers, but something unexpected happened, and it is very hard to forget.
I'm not in Somalia. My people are Somalian, and we are a majority. We are living good place. We are the farmers, giving the food all Somalian, but we are nothing now.
I had 2 sons. The rebels came and tied my hands behind my back, and they took my 2 boys. I gave in to them so they wouldn't kill my boys. I was raped that day.
They weren't looking to migrate. It wasn't their life dream. Something terrible happened, and they were forced to flee their home. Many of them lost everything, have suffered really kind of unthinkable atrocities, and find themselves, in many cases, on the other side of the world now, but safe and really eager to contribute.
And you look at everything they lost, no ownership in anything, and they wanted to farm. They came from an agrarian society, and they wanted to get back on the land.
American help us, really. We appreciate it. We American now. We are taxpayers. We farmers, and we American Somalian now.
And the process of leasing land with this large community took a long time.
When that first farmer really denied the land to these people, I really have to open my eyes because it's a reality. Issues about, okay, who is this community? You're bringing them into our community, not quite sure if they were comfortable with it. And we started to understand our own bias, and that really helped me, I have to say, as an educator.
We had some key people come together. We had the Somali Bantu elders join us, as well as this really great peace team. The Law School of Food and Beverage director, Jonathan Brown, and his 2 students. They've been working on the legal documents for the lease.
Now we have this signed lease with the landlord.
Being able to have a piece of land that they can put their hands in and grow again after all they've been through is really remarkable.
Today was a very special day for us because we know about farming, and signing the lease for the farmland was a great step for us.
There's a culture that's out there that there's fear, and fear is something that if you don't expose yourself to it, it just builds. And I think Utica's, we don't have that fear. We're able to talk, to have dialogue, to see where someone's coming from. And I could go back to almost 100 years ago when my ancestors came from Italy. This became their home, and at the same time you had the Poles, the Germans, the Irish, everyone coming into a community which is known as Utica. When we look at 100 years moving forward and we have our refugees coming in here and our immigrants, and people want to know why we're so, warm and giving, it's because we've been through this before. It's the rebirth of our city. We see it as absolutely a positive. It's just building the bridges. That's all it is. It's communication.
Many things get said about refugees, that they're more likely to commit crime, that they are on welfare forever. There are all sorts of rumors and accusations about this group of people which are not true.
And we need to be prepared, I think, as educators to address that when we go moving forward, because we care about all the people in our community.
Upstate New York went through very difficult times. Unfortunately, a lot of the jobs either went south or went out of our country.
In Utica's case, and in cities across upstate, if you look at the Thruway Corridor, and if you look at Rust Belt cities in general, where you had massive population loss. In Utica's case, we were a city at our height of about 110,000. and then in the 80s and 90s dropped below 60,000. They want to build a life here. They believe in the American dream. Many of them work multiple jobs. Their kids are highly motivated to succeed because they see what their parents have sacrificed. They want to belong, they want to contribute, and they're grateful to be here, but being a refugee is stressful. Nobody would choose it. And yet they come here, they pour everything they are into our community, and you can see it if you look at the shops that are opened, if you look at the houses that are revitalized on the streets where they live.
The refugee population has added to the vibrancy and the overall makeup and the overall character, if you will, of Oneida County.
But now we are happy as the people in Utica, Somali Bantu. We are very happy.
In Utica, I have only experienced people helping me. I have not experienced people pushing me down or discriminating against me.
So with the help and a lot of work of other folks and other community members helping me, we got this piece of land, and this is the first acre we have open of the earth this year. One, the most important thing is to feed their family and maybe some things that they have grown in their home country but couldn't grow here. We're going to see if we can try to do that. And then eventually we hope to teach them maybe some marketing skills to maybe sell their extra products at a farmer's market and help our whole community. So that was the goal of this whole thing.
If you need to get somewhere, you have to be patient. You can't just assume things go like this, like a magic. It doesn't happen. You have to work for it.
This earth has many components. There is sand, rock, brown and black soil, and there is clay, all mixed together.
So as a Somali Bantu, we are farmers. A farm for us is the main resources. As long as we can find even 1 acre of a farm, that brings us memories because our main culture or our main resource was farm. The children, they will do what they see, you know. Whatever they inherit from us, we want it to be something effective and positive, you know. We don't want to leave anything negative behind.
Oh, now it's a Somali Bantu style. Now it's a North Sea American style. This is my country. This line you see up there, my country, he make it like this one. Yeah. He say, yeah, today you help, I help you tomorrow. Today me help. Okay, he said this family, son, boy, father, woman, he come into, you got it. Yeah. One day maybe finish, and next day you remember go over there.
For us, when you're 5 years old, you are strong enough to go harvest with your parents. They teach you how to farm. And the farmland is more like a teaching place for the youth right now. We have our kids over here, they don't even know where their food is coming from. So having the farmland, that will introduce to them, this is where your carrot is coming from, this is where your beans are coming from, this is how we grow.
So I usually have like a sifter, like a net. So I'm using this. I would just look, see. So eggplant, tomato, pepper, one family.
Okay.
Yeah.
They are now farmers, and that's part of the agricultural department and ag economic development. That is our goal, to work with our farmers.
Agriculture is a key piece, and their contributions to it is a key piece. And the fact that the Somali Bantu can be a part of it, you know, people see a different side of Oneida County that maybe they didn't see before.
Compared to what I see in the future, this is like 5% or 10%. And everything is possible because we started from nothing to something, you know? I said this is like 5%. So if we started from 0 to 5, you know? So it takes time.
So they had amazing harvest of like radishes and beets
and lettuce and kale. I was able to find a really great open source organic corn, and it's a corn that they're used to in Africa. It's not sweet corn, it's maize corn. And then we talk about even value added. So they're gonna dry that corn and they're gonna grind it.
We have fresh tomatoes produced with my own hand. So I'm very happy. And it brings back memory of our country.
They're selling okra, they're selling collards, they have bok choy.
We're excited about that, and I'm a master gardener, so I'm willing to learn from that so I can bring it back to our group too, or they're going to be able to teach it to us. So the whole realm of educating is what's really important to all of us at Extension, and that's what we're here for. And that's what our community dollars are for.
This is more than enough for our family. So the rest goes to the community, and we also sell to our neighbors.
We were able to kind of establish some funds and money to help them get started on the community market.
It's no secret that the public markets adds to the focus of what we've done with agriculture here, and why it's so important, whether it's in the city of Utica or in the town of New Hartford or in the town of Marcy, Floyd, wherever.
Now we feel like we are at home because even the neighbors, they are a little somewhat different. They are Americanized. This is their country, but we don't feel like where there's a race problem or whatever. They welcome us every time they see us. They raise their hand, say hi. They're happy. They're smiling.
My name is Abdurrahman Elmi. You make like this one. Like this. You make like this. Tomorrow I want to sell the market. Then, now it's done. Now it's done. We go home now. Wow, everybody happy.
So are we back? We're all back now? Okay, great. Great, well, thank you for watching that. Just a few words, and then we'd love to hear any comments or questions or feedback that you have. I just produced the movie, but Bonnie Collins is the one who really helped make this project happen. And it was at least a 3-year commitment to get it up and running. A lot of effort and a lot of great people involved that helped. Dave and I were really just called in to make a movie documenting the process. And we started, our first meeting was when they were there to sign the lease. So that was near the beginning of the project. And it's had a lot of ups and downs and twists and turns along the way, but overall it's been incredibly successful for the people who've been able to benefit from the farm. So Bonnie, do you want to say something before we take questions?
No, like Sarah said, it was a process, but I was saying it's being committed to it and going when those down times were. You just knew that they were supportive of us helping them, and it was just a great experience. I'm going to say, is just as an educator, it helped me grow and learned a lot about my own community and their culture besides. So if you really want to learn something, I guess you get your hands dirty.
And also, you know, we made the film to document their process because it's such an amazing program to get new Americans onto farmland so that they can, get out of the city where they live. They tend to bring their families with them and make a day of it, and also produce food. And there are just so many benefits, not only in terms of food, but just spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, everything. It's just wonderful. And so, we're hoping that Cornell Extension, Oneida County, can help support other groups that would like to help their new American families do similar projects. Does anyone, please feel free to ask questions or give comments in the chat, or just unmute
I can
yourself.
chime in if that's all right. Thank you for the film. It was really touching and inspiring. I'm always interested in the beginning of the beginning, like really at the point of maybe some of these communities coming together. Bonnie or anyone, can you share kind of like how this partnership possibility was even brought forward, or like the real origin? I'm so curious.
Yeah, so I can share and address that. We were working with an interpretation organization in our city. And the executive director there said they had some Somali Bantus. And I said, okay, what are they interested in doing? I kind of knew what they were interested in doing, but I needed to hear it from them. So we called together a first meeting. I had some other partnerships, Utica Greens. I had brought some farmers in, and I said, okay, let's have the discussion. So we met with the elders, and there were elders for the men and there were elders for the women, and they were all brought there. And I said, okay, what do you want to do? And like I said at the beginning of the film, they're telling me they want to farm. The first thing I told them was, it takes a while. This is what's going to take the time, is finding the land, what kind of organizational structure they had, which they did have, because they had an organization called the Women Empowerment Center for Women and Children. And this was part of their mosque community. So that's how we got together. But I have to tell you, in that first meeting, their eyes lit up when I made the statement that, hey, maybe you have something that I can learn from you to teach our producers in America. Maybe some way you grow. And one thing they did grow differently is corn. They don't do it in a straight line. They do it in a circle, and they're doing it hand casting. And it was amazing just watching that. So that was like anything else. It's making the connections in those groups. And since we started this, and people started to see what we were doing, we had other groups that came to us and said, you got grant money for them. You did this, you got them equipment. Why can't you do it for us? And I said, we certainly can, if you get organized, if you bring the group together. That's what I needed. I needed somebody that I could communicate with for the group. I even asked the elders, like, who makes the decision? So when I talk to them, who's going to do it? And the elders are the ones responsible for the decision making. So you have to have some kind of organization. And now we're starting to work with a Latino community group that wants to do the same thing. So again, and I think we had to show people that, they could do it, and then others are watching. And the best example is watching somebody change or somebody do something. Does that answer your question? It was about connecting.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Bonnie, while we're waiting to see if there are other questions, do you want to share any lessons learned or words of inspiration or motivation to other people or organizations that might be thinking of doing something like this?
Yeah, the biggest one I think I already said is don't give up. We had a lot of ups and downs, and I can share, I don't know if it came out in the film or not, but we did, as we were looking for land, that took about 2 years to do, and reaching out to our local farmers or producers and saying, hey, can you spare maybe 3 acres of land? We want to bring a community in. And one farmer said yes, but then they found out who the community was, and they took it back. They wouldn't give it to us. So that was really hard. hearing that, but again, we know that that exists and that's fine. And when we started working on the farm, when we finally did get a piece, it was like saying, okay, guys, just work. Let's show people what you can do, and it'll be showing by example. And that's what we did. So probably the biggest thing is don't give up, because even I've been with Extension for 18 years, and I'm the co-coordinator for Annie's Project. If anybody's heard of Annie's Project, it's a national risk management program. When I first brought it in, I was kind of afraid to do it. And I said, well, fear, what's it do? It stops us. So I brought Annie's Project in. And then I got an email from a professor that said, why are you just teaching women? And I just had to learn how to react to that as an educator. And I just did it with statistics. It's the same way we try to present Somali Bantu. We'd rather have them do it, but when we have to do it, we learned enough about their culture so that we could share our experiences we had with them. It's a community that's well organized. I even asked, who gets up in the morning first and who makes what and what do they like to eat. So just learning that trust and making that trust with each of us is really, I'm grateful for. And when we did show this to the community, their concern was, were we going to stay with them? And I said, of course, you're now farmers, just like any other farmer that we would help in our community.
Great.
Bonnie, you started to touch on some of the challenges that you encountered. Can you speak a little bit more to that and how you addressed it? I mean, you clearly mentioned some racism on the part of an initial land seller that you had to, I guess, maybe disregard that person, and reflected on your own experience in trying to empower and teach women about agriculture. I wonder if you can speak to any other challenges that you've encountered in the process and how you moved through them.
Well, I can. The other challenge was that we were so grateful for the farmer that allowed us to be on his land and gave us a space. And we signed a legal document because I wanted protection for that producer as just as well as for the Somali Bantu community. So after a year went by, he was very helpful. But then the second year approached, and well, even maybe part of the first year, because we got in very late on the land the first year, but kind of showing them what to do. They weren't asking, they just wanted the land. And I had to really address with him that we have a signed contract. And, I know he wanted to help, but I wanted them to do it their way, their native way, not the American way. If they asked us, we helped them to do it. But that was another challenge. And it was a lot of discussion that we had to go back and forth about. And then finally, the third year, we didn't stay the full third year. We moved on to another farm that they're on for the first time this year. And, and this is just another group, another husband and wife farm, and they want to help too. But again, of the not English being their first language, they're having difficulty that, he was trying to plow up the land for them for the corn and trying to show them the machinery, and they didn't want it. They wanted to do it the way that they brought back how they did it, their cultural way. So again, trying to have an interpreter there, and that's why having Abdullahi, who you saw in the film, he was really our English interpreter. And now we're getting the younger folks really involved in trying to get money. And I think that was the hardest thing. Like, okay, we got the land. Where am I going to get the shed, and where am I going to get the tools for them? So I finally kind of wrote their story of what we were trying to do to a foundation. Instead of a big grant, we didn't go after that. We had 5,000, no question about what we were going to do with it. And very grateful that sometimes you just have to start out small because you need the tools and moving from there. So those were the challenges, trying to find money to do it, and then working with the relationships that we had between the community. But most of the time I want them to speak for themselves. It's not for me to speak for them. Did that help, Tracy, a little bit about challenges? Thank you.
Bonnie, I don't know if you see the question in the chat.
I did not.
Gary asks, how long is the lease commitment and what is the size of the growing area?
Yeah, so the commitment signed lease was 3 years. We wanted that to be 3 years, and we had 3 acres. We only opened up 1 acre, and that's what we kind of worked on. And now the new farm that they moved to, they have 5 acres. But again, they're trying to get reorganized because some of the elders that were working with us in the beginning have had health issues. So we're really trying to revamp. And Gary, I do have the concern too about even urban agriculture, about land leases. I would love to make sure people can own their own land. And that's a project that I'm working on with American Farmland Trust. You know, you build the soils. The farm they're on now, these 2 producers are fabulous people, and they're on the retirement end of things, life cycle. So they're willing to, you know, give up more of the land. But again, they want to sell their farm. If I could find a way to help the Somali Bantu find that funding to do that, then I would do it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to get some grants, if they apply themselves, though, you need sort of a longer term commitment so that they can take advantage of things that they might not. 3 years, a little short commitment, and it's an investment, I think. And that's, you know, so that I'll put that aside, but I have another question.
Sure.
We actually lease land from a municipality, and we've been doing it for going on 15 years now, but we're also looking toward our legacy. We're not going to do this forever. And, you know, we've been working with urban farmers, and more recently as under the guise of Pennsylvania Farmers Union. We've been doing food safety videos, but, you know, interacting with urban farmers. And I see that relationship as a potential to, you know, in talking with some of the urban farmers, they're looking to get rural land. So I'm trying to see how we can set ourselves up to basically create an opportunity on our rural land to entice urban farmers out here. So just another.
Yeah. And Gary, I much appreciated. I'm part of a work team for urban agriculture, and we did get a grant from American Farmland Trust to map our suburban areas, you know, in the 2 cities in my county. And not only that's one piece of it, but the second piece is really talking to the municipalities, is what you're talking about, and how to make that more long-term and available. So I'm right with you there.
Yeah, that's our challenge. And we incidentally do have a Malian that comes and visits and helps out on the farm and has an interesting following. And, you know, we have, you know, one of our tools on the farm was popular tool is a daba, you know, that's utilized. So there is, I like the aspect of cultural exchange as well. Mm-hmm. And we met some people in at Farm Aid concert too. I forget the name of their farm, but they're actually Malians that are working in New York. I don't know if you're familiar with them in the Hudson Valley.
I am familiar with them. Yeah, there's people, I kind of look at myself because I'm working with New York City and Buffalo and urban agriculture. New York City is kind of advanced. Buffalo's a little bit harder. They have a great Somali Bantu community that's advanced farther than we are. So again, it's meeting with those that we can learn from each other going forward. So it's really been a pleasure, but you know, there are a lot of challenges and somebody's got to speak up.
Do you know how the Malians got the farm land in the Hudson Valley?
I do not know. Do you know the story?
No, but we're gonna, they invited us to visit them. So maybe next summer or next season we'll.
Well, great. If you can take my email and let me know when you're going, maybe we can hook up too at the same time. I'd love to do that.
Cool. Yeah. And hopefully our Malian visitor will be here as well.
That's great.
Does anyone else have any comments? You can unmute or put it in the chat.
I was curious about the music in the film.
We found, we were just searching online for Bantu music, and we came across a band based in Burlington, Vermont. And then we got in touch with them to get permission to use the piece that we had found online. And yeah, that's how we found it. It was the only piece we found online. So we were glad that we were able to track them down, which wasn't easy. But there's a community up there also, as well as up near, up in Lewiston, Maine. There's a community also.
And I'll just share, really what's coming out besides, this 15-minute film of the hard work that Sarah and David did as we move this. But it's really interesting as we learn the trust of this community. I had a elderly woman call me and say, my kids are in school and, they're getting in trouble. What can we do? So we're trying to get to develop a 4-H program for them specifically to help with because our 4-Hers, we can't get leaders. And now I have a group of women that want to be leaders for 4-H for their community. So you never know what it's going to, when you're telling a story, you're telling their story, what can jump out above and beyond what you thought you were going to be doing. Is anyone in the group working with refugee population or different, group than? I'm always curious.
Or is anyone hoping to work with a group or try to make one of these projects come together?
I can actually chime in a little bit. We don't actually work with directly with the growers that are selling, but we organize a farmers market and host a few different cooperatives. One through African Alliance of Rhode Island, which hosts a variety of different African community members, looks to find them farmland, and then they sell at our farmers markets that we organize. And then also the Southside Community Land Trust here in Rhode Island also organizes just community land. They host the land that Tedelito and Margarita, who were in the keynote this morning, host. And then also there's a large population of Hmong growers in Rhode Island, Southeast Asian, that will also sell sort of cooperatively. I think I had a question about that actually, around how you're getting their stories. I think are pretty similar around just getting people onto land, being able to grow for themselves and learn, and have the ability to have control over their food system and provide for their families. And then the next step is sort of selling to their communities and distributing out. And I was curious to know, like, I know in the video it said that you organized a farmer's market, or did they join a farmer's market that was existing?
Yeah, so we twofold. The first time they did sell at our local farmers market, and that's a big market that was in the film. But we also put a small farmers market outside the mosque. So right after services, it was there for their community. And you saw a little piece of that when they were setting up those tents there. But so they've really been to 2 different markets already. And when they were at our public market, our county public market, they were sold out of all their products within two hours. And it's like a 5-hour market there. And the other thing is we're learning, we have a contract to try to get some upstate produce into New York City. So we are working on that. And we know they're very culturally diverse, and we may even have an opportunity to make them grow for our New York City residents, because we're located in upstate New York, right in central New York.
Well, I'll just add that I was really privileged to get to work with Bonnie and her colleague Alicia at Cornell Extension on this project, because it was fabulous to see it come together and to get to know the people in the Bantu community. And I'm just really impressed with how dedicated Bonnie and Alicia were. I mean, going out regularly on weekends to help them work on the fields, and they really went above and beyond. And so amazing, really, that it's all come together. And I really hope it is replicable, and that, you know, a lot of other communities can do the same.
Thank you, Sarah.
Yeah.
Is the film posted anywhere, or will it be, if we wanted to share it with colleagues?
Yes, we would love that. That is the whole reason we made it, and it's on Vimeo. And we just removed the password protection, so it's, if you search on Vimeo, it's called Finding Hope in Farmland.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just wanted to say I thought it was beautifully done. The work is wonderful. It's I don't know. I don't watch a ton of documentaries, but I feel like it's rare to find one that is so positively oriented in a very grounded fashion. So I really appreciated that tremendously, about the tone and style of it.
Thank you.
Bonnie, I had a quick question too about, I really appreciated, one of the things I also appreciated about the video and about you speaking about the work that you're doing is also centering the knowledge exchange and allowing the community to speak for themselves, or, you know, do the things that they want to do instead of just forcing our culture on them. And I know you mentioned you're a master gardener, and have you been able to translate any of the learnings from the community to the other master gardeners, or are you helping to sort of share the knowledge that you've learned from them with any in any ways through cooperative extension?
Yeah, so again, I kind of mentioned that I'm part of a project work team at Cornell University for urban agriculture, and trying to convince them that in a small plot of land, you can make quite a bit of food, not only for your own family. So if you want to become, you know, commercial growers, we can do that in that area. But again, the challenge is finding the place to grow. And I didn't mention this in the film, but in our urban city, we have a very high lead content in our community. So we're teaching growers right now. It's something called the Urban Learning Lab, and we're growing in raised beds to show people that they can do it in the space that, even though it's small, you can produce quite a bit. So yeah, I have shared a lot of what I've even learned with them. The corn, I don't know if I will ever convince my producers, the corn growers, to do it in a circle like they do it. It does keep the weeds out though. And we were trying to teach them about cover crops too. So we've done that. And again, not speaking English, all our classes were with pictures, and we even did evaluations with them and what they knew before and what they got after we presented with them. But we always asked them to share how they can make it better, or how we might do something better. So I hope to share more.
I just went on Vimeo. It says it's not currently available. It expired on May 13th.
I will double check on that after this session and get it, remove any glitches that may be there. Thanks for letting me know.
Sure.
Yeah. Gary, and we're going to try to put it up on the CCE website in Oneida County, so that should be on our front page. It probably won't happen till Wednesday. I apologize for that. But again, we protected the film because we did want the community to see it before we put it out to the public. By all means, please share with educators, new groups you're working with. It's our pleasure to do that.
Okay, thank you.
And if there are no more questions, Bonnie and I can put our contact info in the chat in case anybody wants to follow up or connect either of us to anyone who may be interested. And it will be up and running today, I'm sure, on Vimeo. If there's some glitch right now.
Actually, it says content can be viewed in authorized regions, Massachusetts, Vermont, and New York. I'm in Pennsylvania.
Oh, is that right?
Interesting.
Oh, I wonder.
1 week only, free to watch. And
Well, that's not good. I don't understand that, but I'll look into it. That explains it though.
yeah, I think I have the right one. Yeah, Finding Hope in Farmland, right?
Yep, you got it. That's
Yeah.
the title.
Um,
Check back in a couple days, Gary. We'll try to figure this out and make sure you have access to it. If you don't, if you just email me, I'll send you the link.
Okay,
How's that?
sounds good. Thank you.
yeah. Okay. I don't see any more questions coming in on the chat. If anyone has a final question, you can unmute and ask it. Otherwise, I think we're going to close.
I gotta go plant garlic. Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah,
bye.
me too. Me too. Thank you, guys. Thank you so
Okay.
much. Good luck to you. Good luck.
Bye.
Bye-bye.